Well, good afternoon again, everybody, and thank you for joining us. This is Melody Purdy with the Eureka Springs channel here in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. And this is a free service we do give to our community in order to inform you and encourage our tourism here in Eureka Springs. And we have, of course, it's voting day coming up tomorrow. And so we wanted to be able to share some information with you, in particular from a couple of the candidates for City Council. We've already spoken this afternoon with Mr. Bill Ott, who is running for City Council, and we are now welcoming on board Mr. Bob Thomas, who is also running, I believe, for the same position that Mr. Ott is running for. And so we wanted to be able to bring him on board and to have him answer some of the same questions that we gave Mr. Ott. These are questions that were submitted by our citizens, and so we want to be able to give Bob a chance to answer those questions. Let me bring Bob on board. Let's see, we've had some issues with his microphone, so we've asked him to, hi, Bob. How are you? Speak softly. Yes, technology is wonderful, but it sometimes can be a little irritating, can it?
Exactly.
Well, first of all, I've extended this the gracious thank you for being willing to serve to everyone that's running for City Council. We appreciate you doing that and being willing to step up. And you've already been serving on our City Council and up for re-election. So I'm going to get right to it. Our questions, okay? Let's go. All right. So in particular, as a council member, you have a unique ability to answer this question over some of the others who haven't been on the council lately. Are there any city ordinances that we currently have that you feel are outdated or are problematic even, that you feel that in 2021 we need to address?
Right. Well, for instance, the issue of campaign signs. When the federal court makes a ruling, then we have to upgrade our codes to be consistent with that. I'm not sure that there's a lot of them that I would point to now and say, these are outmoded. There are a lot of them that are not very clear. And what we do need to do is to clear things up so that we can implement our ordinances and enforce our ordinances consistently across the board so that no one feels like they're being discriminated against. That's the biggest problem.
Okay, thank you. Some people are of the opinion here locally that we have an affordable housing crisis. And as a city council member, and any kind of encouragement, what would you do as a city council in 2021 to perhaps take a look at that?
Well, when you say what would I do, you have to remember that I'm one of six, so I can't really do anything on my own. I know that we could look into tax incentives maybe, and we could certainly support our private nonprofit organizations that are like ECHO. Affordable housing is an issue everywhere in our country with big cities and popular cities. And, people have been working to find the answer. And unfortunately, they haven't been able to come up with anything workable yet. And that's our situation. Right now, you cannot buy a house or build a house and then rent it at a reasonable price, for the entry-level workers and pay your mortgage. And that's a problem. We can't have the private landlords are not interested because they need to make money. So it's going to have to be, a group effort, with the nonprofits and maybe with the federal government support, the state government support.
Okay, thank you very much. Sort of along the same lines, and thinking about growth and in regards to economic development, what is our city currently doing about that? And in particular, what can we do to support growth, and perhaps in the way of property taxes, ordinances, that sort of thing? What can we do as a city council, as your city council, to address that, Bob?
Well, the council has the power to grant some incentives in terms of property taxes. We also need to just be a welcoming community. The council just gave permission for Sonic to come in, but they decided not to. I have read that a lot of the businesses and the companies, they research the communities, and they look at the population, the facts and the figures and all that. And the last thing they do is they go to the social media to find out what the environment is. And we need to just really focus on being a welcoming environment. That is, I know there are some businesses we would not want here, but there are others that are perfectly acceptable, and we need to make them welcome and make them feel like Eureka Springs would be a good place for them to locate.
Okay. Well, talking about communication and being able to be accessible, what is your plan in 2021 to be accessible and to be able? I mean, a lot of people use social media, like you said, to communicate. How are you going to do that in 2021 to help encourage people to reach out to you?
Well, I did set up a Facebook page for my campaign, and that was my first attempt to do Facebook. And I plan to maintain that, just to be able to discuss what the council is doing or what the council did. The other thing is, I can tell you that the people in this town find me. My email address and my phone numbers on the city website. And, I have to go to the grocery store and they catch me there. I have to go to McDonald's and they catch me there. I always have to stop and take the time to listen. I'm eager to listen. But I don't think I'm, going to be holding any town hall meetings or anything, especially under the present circumstances.
Right. We talk about growth. We talk about, changes in particular. One of the issues on the ballot for this election is the entertainment district. A lot of pros and cons. People are weighing in left and right on that particular issue. First of all, what are your views on it as a council person? And also, how do you see it being a benefit? How you see it being problematic, in your opinion?
Right. Well, at this point, as far as council goes, we're just sitting back and waiting for the vote to come in, because we obviously are going to do whatever the citizens vote to do. I've always been a supporter of the entertainment districts because everything that I have done research-wise, looking at other cities and communities, I think we did a Zoom meeting with the director from Fayetteville, but he was talking about their downtown district, and he had looked into something, like 40 or 50 cities that had done an entertainment district, and only one decided not to continue with it. So I think it speaks to the fact that, they don't end up being, drunks and rapists and that kind of stuff running around. It's not, number one, we're going to be looking at much more closely. The police chief will always have, the power to shut it down immediately if he wants to or needs to. And I just think it's just a little bit of wellness, It's like the restaurants now that are providing seating outside that they didn't have before. Well, some of them don't have the option to fence in their outdoor seating, so theoretically they're not able to serve the drinks out there. The Fayetteville city had these beautiful, I know we're not closing any streets, but I always wondered, well, how can you have outdoor seating if you're seating, for streets are like that? But they built some little wooden tables, units with the seating, and they could actually adjust the legs on them so that they could make them level. that was a novel thing that I learned from them. But I just don't. I have not seen cities having negative experiences with them, and I don't anticipate that it would be a negative experience here. But again, whatever way the citizens vote, that's the way the council will go.
Yeah, and the outdoor seating issue is really important right now for a lot of our citizens too, because of the limitations that we have. And kind of on that same thought process, we are seeing increases in numbers of COVID-19, and not only here locally, but also all of our surrounding states that come here every weekend. A lot of people are, visiting every weekend. If those numbers continue to increase, what do you feel that the city council should do to address that?
Well, excuse me. The city council, first of all, has to be on top of what we can do. And that's a problem that a lot of people have had with the virus and what's happened in town. People call in and they want us to do something that we absolutely cannot do. For instance, I had one person call me and he said, why are police officers not telling people on the street without masks to put on masks and get out of town? Well, we can't do that because it's not constitutional. So we have to watch. We have to be careful because, when the mayor first started his emergency declaration, we did not have the option to require masks on the street. That was just not available to us as a local city, as a city council, until he may put mandated masks. So we have to be careful of what we can do. We have to watch the governor, and our mayor is always on top of what's available, options. And I think we really have to stick with the opinions of the medical professionals and not get off course based on what we hear from other sources.
Yeah, and if we do have a federal mandate come on board at some point in time, do you feel like that the infrastructure of our law enforcement is prepared, in your opinion, to address that, and also officials in general? Are you guys prepared for that if that does come to be?
Oh, I'm prepared to take any step that the medical professionals say we need to take, and any step that we are allowed to take versus the state responsibility and the federal responsibility. As far as our police department, I kind of would have to know what you're looking at, in terms of federal mandates. I think if there was a mandate to wear masks on the street right now, I think our policemen can handle that. The problem that you have, and I've had citizens contact me about this, is I saw people walking down the street today and they weren't social distancing and they weren't wearing masks. Why didn't the police do something? And I have to explain to them that it's the same thing as when I'm driving on the freeway and somebody zooms by me, doing 100 miles an hour, and I'm saying, why didn't the police do something? Well, it's because the police weren't there. Your police can't be everywhere. And but I do know that when the police are there, they do something as much as they can do. And right now, all they can do on the street is just, ask people to social distance or to put on masks.
Okay, thank you. So, Bob, you've served currently are serving. Do you see a vision for where Eureka Springs needs to be in 5 years?
Well,
or 4? Or 4?
Where we need to be in 5 years is critical, but what we need to do is to have a 5-year plan. We do have a vision plan. I know one of our candidates keeps talking about we need to do one, we need to have one. We do have one. Unfortunately, it's 30 years old and it was never updated annually as it should have been. So where we need to be in 5 years, I'm not sure right now, but what we need to do right now is to develop that 5-year plan.
Okay. Well, thank you, Bob. I appreciate you taking the time. I've got one final question, and it's almost like you job interview. What do you bring to the table? What's your experience, and why, in particular, should our citizens reelect you?
Well, aside from my physical handsomeness, no, I mean, I do have 6 years of experience, and it takes you, quite frankly, a year to learn what you're supposed to do and how you're supposed to do it. So and right now that's critically important because we do have one new person coming onto council already, and it's very important that there are other people there who know what's been happening in the past and they know how to handle, issues. And I do have that experience. I have worked in the public sector all of my life. I've been in education. So, I've always dealt with the public, and I've always enjoyed dealing with the public. And I think I'm very, very responsive to people, and I listen to them. The entertainment district, I have an opinion on the entertainment district as an individual. As a council person, I have to listen to the people. And so I think that's my strength. I think I'm an excellent listener, and I think I go into things with open mind and willingness to look at the facts and the opinions.
All right. Well, thank you, Bob. Appreciate that. And I thank you again for taking the time to ask a few of the questions. I'm sure there's a lot more questions from our citizenry. If you do have a question for Bob and you'd like to ask that of him, you can make your comments, your question in the comments below this stream. And Bob's going to keep an eye on it for the next few hours and until the election's here anyway, which is coming up very quickly. So if you have a question you'd like to ask Bob, just make a comment down below. Thank you again, Bob. I want to extend a thank you again for being willing to serve and for your service in the past. Good luck to you, and we'll all look for bright days ahead for Eureka Springs, and thank you for being a part of that.
Thank you, and thank you for doing this.
Yes, sir. See you next time. So there you go, guys. Eureka Springs channel bringing to you the candidates for City Council. We are doing this as a free service to our community. If you like our shows and would like to see them continue, we certainly would appreciate your donations. We are taking donations now for our channel to help support our efforts to inform our citizens and to bring you entertainment. We do hope to expand our services in 2021, so your support would mean a lot to us. Thank you for joining Eureka Springs channel, and you guys have a wonderful afternoon and evening, and most importantly, vote. Thanks for joining us.